Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about authority. Who are we putting in a position of authority, and who are we being impressed by? Who is impressing their will on us, so to speak? Where are we being impressionable? Where are we trying to impress our will on other people, and why? Now, this is a big one you see playing out in the collectives right now, where as a human, we have to always remember, as a human, we always wanted someone to tell us what to do. We don't like taking any, and there's an accountability reason for that. We don't want to take accountability for what we did. We don't want to take accountability for a choice we made. We want to be able to point at someone else and go, oh no, that was your idea. It wasn't my idea. You see it all the time on social media where people ask for an opinion and they want 1,000 people to tell them what they should do because they don't want to have to make that choice for themselves and have to hold themselves accountable for what they choose. So all along the way, we're going to be putting people in positions of authority. And when you're in the human realities, you're pretty much enslaved in a sense because everyone has authority over you. You have no free will. For different reasons in a lot of different spaces. A lot of times the free will goes because we don't have any consciousness of what we're doing. So if we don't have any consciousness of what we're doing, we don't understand what we're doing. So everything we do, we're not making any conscious choices. So we don't have any free will. But we allow other people to tell us what to do. And a lot of people would, in your human aspect, and even when you start getting into your awakening, your ascension, we still do that to a sense. It takes us a while to really see when we're doing that. And even if it's not a person, when we get more in ascension, it kind of becomes beliefs and ideals that we sort of give authority to. And you're seeing a lot of the collectives work through this now. I'm seeing it a lot and it's like so multi-layered, which a lot of the human, when you start peeling back a lot of the programming, there's so much multi-layering going on. If we're putting anyone in authority to make a decision for us, technically that's a program we're running. Running in a program where we are not capable of making a decision for ourselves. We're outsourcing the decision. We're outsourcing what we think. We're outsourcing how we feel about it. We're outsourcing because we don't want the accountability for it. I think I'm going to entitle this, Who's Your Daddy? Because in the human realms, everyone's your daddy. We don't want to take any accountability for anything. We don't want anyone to tell us that we were responsible. Now, in the collectives right now, there's a lot of people that are standing up for themselves, right? You're seeing a lot of people on strike. You're seeing a lot of people say, no, that's not acceptable. You're seeing a lot of people say, no more, and those are very conscious decisions, from unconscious places in a sense where they don't really understand. They're still a victim to the reality. When you see a lot of this stuff play out, that they're not, and I say they more as the collectives because we all did the same thing. Not really seeing the collectives. We're not really seeing ourselves yet as, when we're in that space, we're not seeing ourselves yet as giving them the authority. We're the ones that gave the power away and then we got pissed when someone took it. We're the ones that don't want to stand in our power. We're the ones that want to say, no, you make the decision for me. And then when they do it and we don't like the outcome, then all of a sudden we're a victim to that. It's their fault. Even though we're allowing that to happen again and again and again and again. And then when you stop allowing that to happen, you might find now you're chained to something else. It always kind of reminds me of the devil card in the tarot where they're just chained, but they're really not chained. The chains don't look that terrible. It's also a different card in the tarot, I can't remember, where they're surrounded by swords, but there's a big opening. There's really no binds on the tarot card, on the person on the tarot card. They could walk out whenever they want to, but they choose not to. And the human reality is that's what we do. We choose not to walk out. We choose to stay. Because we don't know what's on the other side of the door, so we don't want to test that. But when you start going through ascension and you start going through different parts of your process, you're going to find that if you don't start severing those cords, your universe will take those cords away from you. The universe is not going to allow you to have someone else in authority. The whole point of your universe, your ascension, is to become sovereign. And if you cannot become sovereign with these people around, meaning you take the power back yourself, Which a lot of times once you do that, the people go away anyway, because the whole reality was built on you not standing in your power. The minute you stand in your power, the whole reality crumbles because it no longer has a purpose. Their role, the play is over. That part of the book is complete. Now, will you go through other iterations of it? Sure, because we got to go deeper in the programming. It's never just a one shot, I did it one time. That's what our human wants to feel like. Oh, I did it one time, I don't have to do it again. You're going to do it multiple times, multiple levels, multiple depths, because that's how deep the programming is. That's what we're purging from the body. When we talk about raising the body vibration, all this stuff has to come out. All this stuff has to go. And if it doesn't do that, then we are stuck with staying kind of in prison to our own choices. But the choice to give everything away, to kind of give the keys to the keys of the kingdom away, in a sense, because we don't want to have to take the authority back. So if you're not standing in your power, and you are allowing other people to kind of tell you what to do, and like I said, in the human realms, we all did that. So when you look in the human realms, that's all that is. Someone telling you, but people waiting to be told what to do, waiting to see what I think about that, waiting to see what should I do next. And even when you start trying to break away from that, you still see subsets of it. Even when you see a lot of the strikes going on now, you still see people saying, well, what should I do? And going back to one person, one organization, what should I do? I'm in a waiting pattern to hear, what should I do? What is the correct thing for me to do? Instead of going inside for their internal guidance, they're looking for someone else to tell them what to do. Because they're working through that. They're working through being told something that doesn't work out the way you thought it was, and then having to look and go, why did I do that? There's a lot of decisions that we will take someone else's, waiting for someone else to make that choice for us. And then once the choice is made, then we don't like the way it ends, we get pissed. We get pissed because normally we knew better. It's kind of like some of the pushing out of that, where we kind of start getting pushed out of the nest on that. How many times are you going to fall for that? How many times are you going to fall for, I knew that really wasn't how I felt about it, but I didn't know what else to do. So I'm letting someone else decide that for me. Someone else decide that is in a different consciousness, that is on a different, I can guarantee you they're on a different ascension schedule than you are. They're on a different awakening schedule than you are. They're in a different place. You see a lot of it even play out when you get into the fourth dimension, the spiritual communities, where people are looking for people to tell them what to do. And for a while we might use these people in this iteration of the program. You have the human iteration of the program when you're in the human consciousness, and then you're still working through the program. You're going to find this on every program you're going to work through. Every human programming you're going to transcend. There's a version of it in one dimension, and there's going to be a version of it in another dimension, and a version of it in another dimension, and you keep going until when you get into the higher dimensional, it kind of flips and people are looking at you to be the authority, and then you have to deal with that and being able to guide people and empower people without being corrupt. But normally you're not going to get, in the higher dimensions, you're not going to get the people looking up to you for that until you can handle that and have the purity to handle that type of those types of realities, in a sense, because you will not overstep. You can be trusted not to overstep. The universe isn't going to hand you that until you can be trusted not to overstep what your role in that reality is. And your role in that reality is never to tell somebody what to do. I'll never tell somebody what to do. I might be able to see more than they can see in certain situations because they're not in that space to see it yet. But what you do is going to be going inside and say, what do I do? How many times are we doing that? Do we look inside and go, what do I do? Or am I asking someone outside? You can do every choice you make for a day and just play the game for a day and say, how many times am I waiting for someone else to tell me what to do? Or am I going inside to see? Going inside to see in the beginning is a harder route because we have to reestablish that connection. A lot of times we still get a lot of muddied answers when we do that. So we want that clear-cut answer of looking out, getting someone else to tell me. But the longer we do that, the more disruptive that's going to be. And when we do get into the spirituality and whether we're doing, no matter what we're doing, what route we go, whether we're doing Reiki, whether we're doing tarot, whether we're doing mediums, whether we're doing empaths, whatever road whether you're reading a lot of the consciousness books, no matter who you're listening to, Neville Goddard, it doesn't really matter when you're in that seeking phase and the remembering phase, and you're using a lot of these people, whether it be people content you're getting, or whether it being people you're actually talking to and going to for guidance. every other dimension is kind of going to mirror a different one. Like the seventh dimension, it kind of mirrors the fifth dimension, where you get it's a different iteration of the fifth dimension, right? Where you're going to see it in the spiritual community more corrupt in a sense, because people have the consciousness but they don't have the purity yet. So they'll take the consciousness and kind of twist it, because also the consciousness is still coming through the ego. You know, that's a lot of what happens to us in the fourth dimension. We start to gain the consciousness of the fifth dimension and higher, but we don't have the purity of the higher dimensions yet. We haven't anchored into the aspects in to gain the pure. We haven't learned how to align realities on a soul level. We don't even know what that is. So we're sort of sitting here and not sure which way to go, and watching other people. And then we can start playing in that too, or we know better than someone else, because that person doesn't know because they can't see it. So let me show them what to do. Whether we're doing it, we're going to be on both sides of it. You're going to be doing it, you're going to be having it done to you. You know, and when I say having it done to you, we're going to be allowing it to be done to us. Where we're going to be waiting for someone else to make the choice. We're going to be waiting for someone else to tell us what we should do. And that's how we learn not to do it. So look at your reality and see, where am I giving my power? Where am I saying I'm giving my power away? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I have the capability to make the choice. I'm looking at someone else to tell me what to do, whether it be a group you're affiliated with, whether it be a friend group, whether it be a spouse, whether it be a community you're in, even the collectives you're linked up to. You can see very polarized in the political arena, where everyone, people are going to fall on one side or the other, and you tell me what to do. We're just going to wait here and see, what am I supposed to think about this? What is the correct way to proceed on this? How do I really feel about something? We don't go inside to see how we feel about anything, because we don't want to have to take the time. We're too busy being distracted with everything else. We don't want to take the time to say, how do I feel about it? I don't want to do the research on it. That's another big one. I don't want to do the research on it to come up with my own opinion. So I'm going to ask 100,000 people, if we're doing the social media route, see what everybody else thinks about it. Because I don't want to take the time. I don't want to have to ask someone how they feel about it. I don't want to figure it out myself. So it's taken the easy route, and it will be a route, because I went down it in a hard way back in my early, my awakening, where I was looking, even though it was towards the spiritual community, what should I do? And I took a lot of tumbles and put my hand on that fire a lot of times till I learned, stop doing it. They really don't know more than I do. Because in the end of the day, no one knows more about you than you do. No one knows more about your plan, what's soul aligned for you, what your awakening process is supposed to be, what your ascension process is, than you do. Can someone see more in certain consciousnesses, certain aspects of them will be able to see more? Yes. Are certain people set out for you to find them, to guide you, to awaken you more? But they're only activating your inner knowing, your inner DNA, your higher consciousness DNA. They're only awakening that. They're not here to tell you what to do. They're here to help you unlock what you know is going on inside of you somewhere. That's it. And if it's not getting used for that, and it's getting distorted for something else, then we're falling back into that program of, I don't know more. They know more than me. And I promise you, they don't know more than you. Like I said, can certain people maybe see more of a certain program because maybe we have too much around it, too much emotion around it? Sure, of course they can. And in that sense, but you also have to look at the level of purity they come from. And that's when I mentioned this before in a video about when I have trouble listening to audiobooks now, no matter what if it's channel material, or because when we're channeling, we're just bringing in higher consciousness so we can eventually bring our body up to that consciousness to become that consciousness, because it is just us we're channeling. So we have to kind of open ourselves up to the higher consciousness knowledge to be able to really sort of embrace that. But even if I'm listening to something that someone is, channeling because they haven't brought it down and embodied it yet, if I'm listening, I'm not reading it, I'm listening to someone's, like an audiobook of it, the words and the consciousness of the person who's talking distorts what the message is. And that can even be said in print work when you read something that is, channeled. Just to me, that just means pre-embodiment, that they just haven't embodied in the aspect yet. So it's still a separation for them. The consciousness is higher than what their body than their body consciousness, in a sense. So That's all that really means to me when I say that. But sometimes I'll read that, and you can pick out the ego in it. You can pick out the human taint in it, because the person who is getting the information is gonna come out with their vibration on it. Even if it is coming from a higher vibrational place, when they are getting people call it getting a download, people call it getting all that information. You're really just opening yourselves up to higher consciousness, to raise your body vibration up to that consciousness. So it's time to take a hard look at what we're listening to, what we're bringing in, what we're being impressed by. Really, who is in control here? Who is in control here? That might be a better title for the video, actually. Wait, who is in control on this one? Okay, keep practicing the art of intuition.